Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. It's Ola. I recently reconnected with some of my old hospital colleagues, and they were telling me about all the beautiful things I've been missing in A&E. Well, I agree that I miss some things, but I do not miss most of the things at all. Speaking of the things I don't miss, five of them take the crown. First is gonna be blips. I still see colleagues, consultants, registrars all holding blips, and that just brought back a lot of memories. Blips caused me a lot of anxiety, a lot of nightmares. I would even say night terrors in some cases. The fact that I was just carrying something alone didn't make me feel free. It didn't make me feel like I was practicing independently. I just felt monitored. I felt like someone was out there looking at me, looking at my every step, looking at everything I was doing. Gosh, I don't miss blips. Number two is going to be the problem with annual leave. I remember my hospital rotations during my training years. There are several of my annual leaves I did not even take. I remember when I became a qualified GP doing my first appraisal, and one of my PDPs was to take my full annual leave. And my appraiser was so much laughing. It was like, what's that even about? And I'm like, you won't understand. In the hospital, taking annual leave was like someone was doing you a favor. You will go to the rota coordinator and the way they will make you feel of taking your own annual leave. You were not requesting for some special leave. You were not requesting for some leave to go away. You just your own annual leave, and you had to must beg for it. Gosh, I don't miss that at all. Third will be on calls. I remember working at a DGH at the time and coming into night shift, and the entrance of the A&E was also the patient entrance. So when you come into the A&E, you would basically see the patient waiting to be seen. And there was a particular night I won't forget. I'd come in and the whole A&E was completely filled up. I came in high spirits, happy, feeling like I was ready to go. But when I saw the crowd, gosh, the left, was it left or right? I can't even recall. But the migraine I had, merely seeing the crowd alone, I was so unwell. I felt so unwell. And looking back at it, it isn't actually the crowd. It's the fact that the hours were not just right for me. I didn't like on calls. I remember it was until about 2 years ago that I had my first Christmas and New Year to myself. 10 years before then, it's always been either I was working both Christmas and New Year, or certainly one of them. So it was the first time, working and not having to worry about spending time during Christmas, spending time during New Year with family. Number four was parking. Parking was an absolute nightmare in my former hospital. You could basically spend almost an hour roaming all over the place and not finding a place to park. I remember a friend was telling me he had gone into the hospital. He wanted to observe his wife, have an ultrasound scan for the baby they were expecting. He had dropped her off with the plan of going to look for a place to park, and he kept roaming around, not finding anywhere to park till the scan was over. And that basically resonates with how it was like in my DGH. And these days, I just drive to my surgery, I park, I don't need to roam about. I just park, enter into the surgery, get my job done, go home. Gosh, it's just a flex. Finally, it's going to be well-being. When it comes to looking after yourselves, looking after members of your team, just give it to primary care. I'm looking at my practice, for instance. We've got loads of activities. We've got the bake-off currently going on. I entered into a bake-off last year, the bake-off competition. I was asked to compete, but as someone who can't even mix anything when it comes to baking, let's just say, sought some help. This very lovely cake was made for me, really nice. And at the end of it, I got disqualified. So I decided not to enter into the bake-off competition this year. We've got the park run as well. We've got our clinical meetings where we check all sorts of cases we've seen. We've got just loads of things. The PCN has got a well-being champion as well, just making sure members of the team are doing okay. This is something I even did not have any idea existed whilst I was in the hospital. So please, friends who are currently in hospital rotation, put in the comment section those things you can't wait to leave hospital for, and those things you certainly will not miss when you're no longer in the hospital. And friends who are either out of the hospital rotations or who are qualified GPs, just looking back, what are those things you certainly do not miss about your hospital rotation? Please put those in the comment section. I like to say that. And please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to share with friends, and please subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.